You literally feel the bullets flying over you.
We do not want this, and we're here to tell you guys that we're tired. Next, come out MPs wakivote yes to our recall.
You literally feel the bullets flying over you.
We do not want this, and we're here to tell you guys that we're tired. Next, come out MPs wakivote yes to our recall.
So we're looking at the year 2024.
You or him?
No, you look at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been a while. Yeah. But I watch you on TV, so.
No. Why?
The way you're clearing your...
No, see, to speak so I can be clear.
All right.
I think Kenyans were very annoyed.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. And let's begin.
In 2022, we did go into an election in which we made very, very lofty promises.
Tunaweka nafasi ya ajira 300,000 hapa Nairobi kwa mambo ya housing, leather, agroprocessing, ili tuweze kupanga ajira yenu kama vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya.
I think we said it even during the campaign that we were dealing with a time bomb of youth unemployment.
There was that heightened hope, and many of us thought that we were now moving into Canaan in the year 2023, 2024.
Mipango ni mipango, lakini mwenye kuyatimiza ni Mungu.
The Kenya Kwanza government was seen as the panacea or our hope.
Issue around the protest was the mobilization was around the finance bill. But was the finance bill really the problem?
Jobs, ladies and gentlemen, is our other priority. It is tide of youth unemployment. Every year, 800,000 young people join the workforce, and over 600,000 of them do not find opportunities for productive work.
What did we see? We started seeing flamboyant politicians running around with bags and bags of money. Yet, for the ordinary mwananchi, life was still pressing us.
There was high corruption levels in government. We could all see it. Na wananchi walikuwa wanaendelea na kuteseka. Healthcare ni problematic. Education was very problematic. Still is.
We have a deaf government, a government that doesn't listen. Last year we had a finance bill that was passed, and Ruto threatened every member of parliament, if they don't pass it, he's going to punish them. And he came back with the same language this year.
Munisaidie tu hawa watu walipe ushuru. Wakilipa ushuru hiyo kazi mimi nafanya kama risasi. Si ndio?
The president himself went on national TV saying, I am going to make sure that by the time I leave, the Kenyans will be paying almost 25% of...
I want in my term, God willing, to leave it at between 20 and 22%. It's going to be difficult. I have a lot of explaining to do. People will complain.
It was just the sheer arrogance of the president going to rallies and churches, threatening not only Kenyans, but even members of parliament.
We had to rise up as the people of Kenya.
the finance bill became a trigger for what was already an existing problem.
Some of the proposals in the bill was, for example, to extend the amnesty so that we have people that are locked down with interest and penalties, that they are able to recover themselves, that they're able to get forgiven all those penalties and interest. It was about expanding our local manufacturing, making sure that our locally manufactured products are more competitive in the market.
Reject! Reject! Reject!
What is the justification of raising the VAT on bread from 0 to 16%?
The initial thinking was maybe the bread has there's a concern and all that.
So there's a study showing that it's coming from bread.
I am from National Treasury, Sam.
We listened to the issues Kenyans were raising on many of the provisions that were contained in the published finance bill. And you remember a week or two before we tabled that the final report of the committee, after public participation on the floor of Parliament, we had our own PG as a Kenya Kwanza group, and we indicated to the country all the amendments that we would carry.
And therefore, the proposed 16% VAT on bread has been dropped. We have agreed that
the young people that were killed really hurt us as the young people and deepened really our resolve to change our country, because Rex could have been me. Rex could have been any one of us that was on the streets that day.
You either vote yes or no or abstain.
Sam, let me tell you, June 25th, not just in my time as a member of Parliament, but in the history of this country, was one of the darkest periods for any country and any parliament.
On that day, we had a subcommittee of cabinet chaired by the deputy president then at his official residence in Karen.
We had a parliamentary group meeting and at the county hall. And we discussed the matter extensively as a parliamentary group.
All our members who had proposed some amendments to the bill have been directed to drop them altogether. We have got nothing to do with the bill, and we shall reject it in its entirety. Thank you very much.
End of statement.
End of statement.
Reject!
No.
Reject the bill!
Reject the bill!
Reject the bill!
It was a beautiful day. It was sunny, there was energy, there was life, there was a lot of love for the country. And kids showed up. People came with their kids, parents came with their kids.
We had to walk to CBD, and when we got to Serena Hotel, there was another blockade. And when I saw past the blockade, thousands of Kenyan people were on the other side, yeah? So many people. So they saw that we had an altercation here because the police were trying to block us from joining the other team. And the other team decided to come for us. And this was the moment now we were almost getting to Parliament.
At around midday, I could see the protest was taking a different angle. The people, the Gen Zs, you can tell them and identify them from their dress, their age parameters. There was a huge crowd that was using this Kiambu Road. Huge crowd, about 1,000 plus young people who are not Gen Zs. There was another huge crowd that was coming from Thika, Gudurai, coming to town. The internal security organ and have drones, they have aircrafts. They could see from the air. We could see there was a group that was coming from Kitengela side. So the meeting took long. I was a bit uncomfortable. If there's one thing that
So towards the tail end is when we realized that the demonstrations are now moving towards the parliament.
Of course, around that time, I probably hadn't slept for almost a week. I hadn't eaten for maybe a day or two.
We were running out of tear gas. And they had to be careful not to shoot people, so we need to finish fast and close business.
We were informed by the authorities in Parliament that there's a likelihood that the demonstrators might come to Parliament now because the police, looked overpowered or something.
And at some point, I think just when we were about to finish with the appropriation bill. Because if we didn't, government would come to a halt. What I did was to prompt him and to move business quickly so that we finish. We had information that there were goons who had been mobilized away from the peaceful and legitimate protesters to invade Parliament, and that is why now we were being asked to leave.
We did not wait for the conclusion of the bill. At the third stage, third reading, we walked out, the minority side. So when we walked out, some of our members went outside the gate to join the demonstrators.
So we marched to Parliament. I remember the youth trying to check if the wires are electric. So you see, for someone touching it, like, it's safe, guys. So the men especially tore it apart.
And myself, I was walking towards my office. And my office is next to the mausoleum and next to the Senate. And that is where the public first got access to Parliament.
I saw them. They were baying for our blood. I remember then, as I saw, our sergeant at arm in our committee saw me and said, "Chairman, kuja twende hivi kwa tunnel." And when I was coming out, I met the Honorable Millie Odhiambo. She had gone out, and then they were baying for her blood too. So Honorable Millie Odhiambo told us, "Hizi mambo ya na no wanataka kutua sisi wote." And that's when I knew that it was really bad. So I followed the sergeant at arms. We went through from the new building to the new Bunge Towers. So we went through first floor, we went through the tunnel, and then the sergeant at arms advised me to go to the highest floor possible and not use the lift. So we went through the stairs all the way to 23rd floor. So at least now at 23rd floor, now we had a view of what was happening. That's why I found the speaker and the leader of majority and the chief whip also. They were around, at the same place. Now everyone was trying to find out how do we get out of here.
And I told the speaker, since he lives in Karen, why don't we go to your house and wait for things to cool down? And we got into the armored car, exited, and when we got to this Haile Selassie roundabout, a small group, maybe of about 50 youth, had blocked the entrance onto the expressway. And I remember somebody saying, "Drive on." And because I was seated behind the driver, I tapped him and told him, "Don't, turn around." Because the security officer who was in the car was saying, "Drive on," knew that we were in an armored car, stones, nothing would stop that car. But I told myself, we had about 12 or 14 security men in the cars behind us. Soft skin cars, windows rolled down, guns out. You can imagine what would happen.
So what the security agency is offering is to send a chopper to KICC at the rooftop. When I'm asking, how do we get from here, to KICC? And so I just said, I'm going to stay here until it's safe.
From that vantage point, what could you say?
There was rage, there was anger in people.
I had participated in many demonstrations in my life as an opposition, member of parliament and leader. But this was one kind of it is all. These ones looked like people who had made up their mind that all politicians are not their friends.
Were you scared?
I was scared to death. I don't want to lie to you.
I think on that particular day, they killed over 40 kids outside Parliament. No one was supposed to die at that protest. And I think when you think about it, it breaks my heart that parents buried their kids for loving their country. Everyone who showed up in the streets that particular day to protest came in peace. They came carrying the national flag, and they were murdered.
As part of the Medics for Kenya volunteers, they were patching up the injured, offering first aid care before moving them to hospital.
At our tent, we have attended to 21 injured persons. Those persons have been evacuated to the Kenyatta National Hospital and Mbagathi Hospital. And we do have 76 that have been attended to our 3 standby locations in Nairobi. We are here at Holy Family Basilica. We also have another standby location at All Saints Cathedral and then at Jamia Mosque.
Niko na wagonjwa watu wa gunshots karibu 10 na askari wenzenu.
Tutaua wengine wengi, enda chukua wengine. Unatoka.
Ati utaua wengine wengi. Na sio ndio nafanya wananirushia tear gas na madaktari nitawatibu aje na ni wenzenu. Aje. Na nilipuli hadi anesthesia ikilipukia watu ndafanya nini na mnatibiwa pia nyinyi. Na sibagui.
When you hear somebody saying go back, I'm killing more that you have to wait for. I have never been broken like that.
Lazima atoke. Kuta maskiko. Lazima atoke. Pia huko na watoto. Huko moja ni polisi. Tungekuja mkono tupu achani snatch.
We realized the Gen Z withdrew from the protest. Yeah. Because the Gen Z themselves saw their life was in danger. The team that infiltrated, and this I have to tell it to the people of Kenya, were people who were under the influence of drugs. They were given, they were intoxicated.
How do you tell that?
They were intoxicated. You can tell that from the behavior in comparison to the Gen Zs. I'm trying to compare 2 sets of people.
What were they doing?
So the Gen Zs usually were protesting. They were carrying banners. So these are people who were carrying. People who were carrying crude weapons, and they had a specific target. The Gen Zs had no specific targets. No particular. They had no problem with the Supreme Court. You asked me a good question. How can you tell? The policemen and women who are on the ground, who deal with their citizens and communities every day, they can tell somebody who is intoxicated, who's carrying crude weapon, from a normal protesters who they used to deal with every day. These were not Gen Zs. These were big group, the ones that were coming from this side of Long Kiambu Road, from Thika Road, from Eastlands, who were coming from Kitengela side. In fact, the ones from Kitengela side blocked our troops from Langata side. The people who came to save Parliament were lucky because they used the expressway.
Parliament was a bit on fire, but now the shooting was becoming intense. And we had to go out of Parliament, movie style. I swear, we had to crawl out of Parliament, running, crawling out, running. Now, at this time, I felt a bit, I really hope we make it out alive because the bullets were ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. You could literally feel the bullets flying over you. We were all on the floor.
These are live bullets which they're using against the innocent kids. Nimebeba hapa karibu niko na 10.
The people that we saw shooting on TV with hoodies on their faces, who are they?
No, you know that you can't ask me.
Why?
No, I told you our work was under the Constitution to come and save the situation. And even you know,
and I
Kenya
get
Defense
that.
Forces came in and saved the situation.
And I get that.
So the other questions I think you need to put to the other organs.
Do you know them? I'm asking you who are they because they are hooded.
They are being investigated. I've told you files have been opened on every incident of shooting.
Was there
Files
you're the
are
Interior Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, I am.
You don't know who those people are?
But I'm not a police investigator. I'm sure even the IG doesn't know. He's waiting for the process to be completed. That's why we have a DCI.
Is it a possibility that the people that are protecting Parliament are not police officers?
Nobody has the authority to exercise police powers if they are not police officers.
I don't want to speak for the police. I don't want to speak for the other agencies.
Let me just explain. I'm okay with whatever answer you give. So the police officers were there. You said the military was there. There were special forces. All I'm asking about is because it's not known, at least publicly, who the people shooting on TV, the balaclavas, who they are.
You should put that question to the heads of the other agencies.
What you could do, because I don't think the images could amount to forensic investigation, what you could do is, as a journalist or an eyewitness who witnessed who did what, is to help us with that information. The team that is looking at that investigations, and if there are people who are exercising police powers who are not police officers, those are criminals.
When I think about 3-4 people were killed, is a time I think when the Kenya Defense Forces special teams arrived, plus other special forces from the internal organ of the police to boost.
Shortly after I spoke to the president, he assured me the military was coming in and special forces will come, and he directed us, since he also was privy to the same intelligence that we were targets for elimination, we must not leave.
The demonstrators were also not, they got access to Parliament, and the information we got later was that they went for the armory. There's an armory in Parliament, and they did this and that. But I think the police could still contain it, in my view.
The arrival of the defense forces, particularly in Parliament, saved the situation.
The quantity and the extent of damage meted along Parliament Road and within Parliament buildings will remain a stark reminder of the events of June the 25th, the very day in history when the Parliament of Kenya was invaded during the nationwide...
The president called me around that time and was trying to find out, because now by that time now the invasion of my home was on the news. And was trying to find out from me, am I okay? Was my family here? Is it safe? And said, now, where are you? I said, I'm in the speakers. And tried to find Kujeni Hapa State House. At least that's why we felt it would be safer. So, and that's why we went.
We stayed on in State House until 1:30 a.m.
What were you doing?
The nation was in a crisis. The president needed to deal with the crisis, and we also needed to make decisions on what needs to be done next. And by 9 p.m., I think the president's statement was ready.
An otherwise legitimate expression of the fundamental rights and freedoms of assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petitioning of public authorities by a section of law-abiding citizens of the Republic of Kenya was infiltrated and hijacked by a group of organized criminals. Most regrettably, today's attack on Kenya's constitutional order has resulted in the loss of lives, also destruction of property and desecration of institutions and emblems of our sovereignty. Today's events mark a critical turning point on how we respond to grave threats to our national security. I assure the nation that the government has mobilized all resources at the nation's disposal to ensure that a situation of this nature will not recur again at whatever cost. We shall provide a full, effective, and expeditious response to today's treasonous events. Thank you.
Did you see that, our president? Did you see how he came out? That is the real President Ruto. Did you see what you saw?
I think that time he was speaking as the head of the military, as the commander-in-chief. He was not speaking as the head of state. That's how I saw it.
He came out on fire. I was here watching that TV and I said, excuse me? And the words he was using, wow, was scaring. Treasonable, and he was on fire. And we wondered, now, yes, Mr. President, we can see you. We have seen what has happened today. I don't know where we are now leading, because that is not the symbol of unity that we needed. There was something that was lacking, and that was not I said, that's not the president I voted for, myself.
It made me see how out of touch the ruling elites are with the realities of the people of Kenya.
The violence that actually happened that particular day was by paid goons. That's why there's no arrest. And you can relate that violence and those criminal activities with the same that actually happened at Juja Farm. The goons went to Juja Farm on Uhuru Kenyatta's land and cut trees and stole the sheep. The people who organized that violence on that farm are the same people who are given money to hire goons to come and destroy the city.
We had a heated engagement on whether to sign that finance bill or not for the president. And eventually at about 1:15 a.m., a decision was reached that the following day, Wednesday 26th, I remember, the president would assent to the finance bill 2024. That morning I woke up, had a cup of tea, took a quick shower and made my way to State House. And told him, Your Excellency, I know the decision we made last night, but thinking through it again, I would beg that we don't assent to this finance bill. For one reason, or two. One, because if you sign, you get into an irreversible process. It becomes an act of parliament. You can't do anything about it until after 6 months. And we are not able to separate the treasonous criminals from the legitimate protesters. If you don't sign, we will be able to separate the treasonous criminals from the legitimate protesters who are legitimately protesting what they believe is a bad finance bill. Those who accuse you of not listening, accuse us of not listening to them, will probably see that we have listened. The president told me, you know what, Ishongwa, I thought about it later as I went to bed. I'm afraid you're right.
Having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024, and listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that that becomes our collective position.
myself and elected leaders are servants of the people. Going forward, this should be the norm, listening to the people. I'm on record for the last 3 months of asking leaders to listen to the ground. And I'm happy that my boss, my president, has listened to the people of Kenya. Where did the rain begin to beat us? Where did we stop listening to the people? President William Ruto and I were the darling of the Kenyan people by listening to them, by engaging them.
I was shocked because, one, you were not in State House. Two, you can't speak after your boss. Three, the content of his speech did not befit the office the Deputy President held.
He was basically running away not to be present for the assent of a bill in State House that afternoon.
He's a man who had decided that that crisis was a good opportunity for him to hit back on his boss or on the government, the way I saw it.
And if I were an elected member in Parliament, if I would just do what my people want me to do, because I would listen to them. But I came out that day that they didn't listen to anybody. They went there. They were under duress from some corner to just pass the finance bill. And shame on them. The finance bill they passed was not even signed by whoever had asked them to do it. So he threw them under the bus.
Then, shortly after 2 weeks, the president dissolved the cabinet.
Yes.
I have today decided to dismiss with immediate effect all the cabinet secretaries and attorney general of the Republic of Kenya, of the Cabinet of Kenya, except the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs.
That cabinet was not performing. But while we say the cabinet was not performing, we need to ask, where is the problem? Our president is a hands-on man. It's time he also reviewed whether his hands-on is working. Because when I have seen situations where if you have a boss who is hands-on, you get stuck at decision making. You can't make a decision because you don't know. You're still waiting for a direction from certain area.
In his own wisdom, he decided to form a broad-based government so that as many Kenyans as possible can feel inclusive so that they can get their fair share of returns on their taxes.
Was the broad-based government thought about to sort out Rigathi Gachagua or the cry and clamor of the Gen Z protesters?
No, it was not sorting any of the two. You remember, after the broad-based government was formed, Rigathi Gachagua still remained the deputy president. He was not removed at the formation of the broad-based government. And it was not sorting out the Gen Z issue. The Gen Z issue was different. It was an agitation for change, and and it happens all over the world.
No, this was a consolidation of power move. And this actually helped us as the Gen Z because the political class had come out clearly to say to the people of Kenya that their interests will always come first, regardless of what is happening in the country. Raila literally rescued Ruto from being removed from power by joining him.
The perception was that all our problems were going to be solved by the broad-based. But now we are seeing it has been turned around, and it is like it's focused on the deputy president. It was a way of saying this. You mountaineers have made so much noise. You are making my life very difficult. I have other alternatives. I have other areas I can look into.
Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury, and Economic Planning.
But what do you think of ODM joining forces with government?
ODM joining forces with government is political suicide. UDA is a dying horse. Joining forces with UDA, you die together because now the Kenyan people will clamp all of them together.
The Gen Zs, themselves on their own said that they are partyless, they are leaderless, they are tribeless, and what else they say? ODM is a party. They are not tribeless, they are not partyless, they are not leaderless. ODM as a leader, ODM is a party, and parties all over the world are formed to capture political power.
If indeed in every town and city in Kenya, the Gen Zs came out, they said they were leaderless, they were tribeless, they were whatever they were, they said, but they were able to do what they did. I think we need to wake up and ask ourselves, have we addressed the Gen Z problem, or is this just a lull in the storm? And yet how they were able to mobilize and be where they are, someone should not ignore that as a voting bloc. If they so wake up one morning and decide that they wanted to register as voters, and then they had a common agenda, woe be unto us politicians.
What was your role in those protests?
None. My statement in Mombasa is on record. I don't want to delve into it. I pronounced myself. I said what I thought of the situation. And that remains my truth. And anybody can challenge me otherwise.
We have a dysfunctional National Intelligence Service that has exposed the president, the government, and the people of Kenya.
The Director General of the National Intelligence Service briefs the president almost on a continuous basis from morning. He does not brief me, he does not brief the Speaker, he does not brief the Minister for Interior, he does not brief the Deputy President, not the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the President.
For there to be integrity in the political governance of our country, Rigathi Gachagua must.
The former Deputy President of Kenya should know that when you touch anything of the offers, it is not Kenya Kwanza, it is not Azimio, but it is God Almighty that will put the fire on you.
He has been attacking women, and especially members of parliament, me and others included.
I want to confirm that I have tremendous respect for Kenyan women, and I have never disrespected them.
The results of the division on the motion are as follows. Abstentions 1. The noes 44. The ayes 281. So the ayes have it.
The Senate has resolved to remove from office by impeachment His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, AGH, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Accordingly, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, AGH, ceases to hold office.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua moved to the High Court in Nairobi to challenge his impeachment by the Senate Thursday night on grounds that the allegations...
Public interest demands that the office of the Deputy President should not remain vacant.
Kithure Kindiki to take his place.
I, Kithure Kindiki, I assume as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
And the pain of those parents is that our kids died in vain. You know, they died in vain. They went to the streets, they were murdered in cold blood, and there was a pretense for a week or two that the government cares, oh, people have been fired, we're going to appoint a new government. Then all these people who are taken home come back in office. And the arrogance is back. For a while you could drive around Nairobi, there was no siren. It's back. And guess what he did after that? What makes it very, very worse? Abductions.
And in fact, here in Mathare, we planted memorial trees for all the Gen Zs that were killed by police in this Wangari Maathai Memorial Park over there. We held an event and invited all the Kenyan people, and we planted the Gen Z memorial trees 60 plus 1 to represent all the other young people who we do not know, because remember, people were abducted, people were disappeared, there were many bodies found in mortuaries. So it is to remember that struggle and to continue on the fight for a better country, because oppression must be resisted.
So I hope and pray that those investigations will be concluded as fast as possible, because those families who have lost loved ones need answers. They need to know how they lost their people.